Sreeradha, railway transit, power trade, both have very strong BBIN content, as you can see. They will essentially allow Bangladesh to trade with Nepal and Bhutan, and while India will gain access, alternate access to Northeast, and Bangladesh will also gain some north-south, new north-south connectivity through that Bogura-Sirajganj rail link. So are we seeing a revival of BBIN dialogue through this?
I certainly, yes, I certainly agree to that. I mean, if you recall the initial joint communique that we had signed in 2010, uh, India-Bangladesh relationship was a lot more than just bilateral. It was all about a regional landscape. And I think what we are now witnessing is exactly the step towards that. There are technical issues on the energy, which I'm hoping will, of course, be sorted. But the fact that in principle, all the partners have agreed, we are also hoping, at some point Bhutan will join the grid too, and once it's up and about, then everybody can. And of course, the railway lines, as you said. The larger issue here is, as you know, that we had signed the motor vehicle agreement in 2015. And the fact that you're not able to take that forward is something that we need to address. The point always has been that, initially Bhutan said they were, and they did sign it, and then they stepped out on citing environmental issues. But again, we are all aware of the fact environment is an aspect that's not something that we will not be able to overcome. I'm certainly we can work on that. But the actual problem was that they were all the partners, which is why even now Nepal has stepped out, is they feel that India has a wherewithal which they can't match, and rightly so. Our truckers are far more efficient, the vehicles are modern. So naturally, they felt that their own treaties, which is exactly what started with Bhutan, and then now we've had conversation with Nepal who say the same thing. Only they don't say it openly at official forum, which is why nobody gets down to addressing it. You, me, we are constantly in touch. So coming back to that,
But
I think why.
I have a point here to make. If you look globally, leave alone the developed world, globally, making these kind of transport agreements is very, very difficult. And the only one we have closer to us is Greater Mekong. And it's not really operating very well. On the IMT, we heard that Thai truckers will not allow Indian trucks and etc. So over to you. Yeah.
Yes, there is that problem, but I'm saying the kind of partnership with Bangladesh agreeing to transit, the fact that we can use Mongla Chittagong port. I mean, it's the landscape is changing, and it is also important that we start having frank conversations here with all the partners. I mean, 10 years ago, we didn't even think of cross-border pipelines and other things, which are all so effective now.
Agree.
So why is it that we can't? I mean, as you're saying, it is difficult, but it's not something that, especially the BBIN members, I think everybody wants to, because it's going to be a plus plus for everyone else. So there is no reason. But let me come back to here on this. There's also again, while the motor vehicle agreement is again on the truckers problem, on the railway line also, the Rajshahi Shahdpur railway link is something that Bangladesh is bound to resist, because again we will have a kind of a greater position there, far more impact in that sense of our own vehicles and everything. They have the problem again, as we often have discussed this, that at the official, at the government level, a lot of things have been put in place, but at the local level, the resentment, the fear, the apprehensions of India's presence being larger at both at the road or the railways has never been factored in.
Yeah.
Which is why we've not been able to take it forward. So I mean, I would really like, because you work on this closely, so how do we address that, and what do we talk? I mean, because clearly India has advantage, but it's not that we are not willing to work closely to see how they can also gain and benefit from this, the transport system.
Right. I will respond to this. Ambassador has certain things to say. So will you go first, sir, or should I respond to her query?
No, I just take up the point that Sreeradha just made, a very, very important and valid point, that how do you take it forward? Now, there is one model that I would like to refer to, which is, let's say, the Inland Water Trade and Transit Treaty, which is like taking of goods either way along the navigable, rivers that we have, the river trade that takes place. Now, the original treaty, which is renewed, often, periodically, said that the goods that are being taken up and down has to be shared 50-50. Now, we have never insisted on that. And I think Bangladeshi barges and boats, etc., that take these goods, take more than 80% of the goods. And we have said, okay, this is something that you are better at in some ways. So we said, okay, you do this, but we will not object, although the treaty is very clear. Now, similar kind of arrangements can be made. I agree that there is an asymmetric advantage that India enjoys in almost every sector. Now, what do? Do you close your eyes and say, I will not cooperate, or you devise certain methods to cooperate? I believe that we can do it. There are models available. And I think some asymmetric advantages have to be given to the BBIN, the BBN countries, so that they come on board. Don't forget, there are obviously business lobbies, truckers lobbies at work here. It is their livelihood, and that is going to be affected. So we have to take care of that. We are not a rich country or developed countries. We are not in that category at all. Hence, livelihood is a very important issue.
I agree, sir.